question that I've been asked whenever I've been talking to other people about this whole situation. What is the nature of that allegation, actually? I mean, I've heard that you either disclosed it to publicly or disclosed it to your attorney, or so what is the actual allegation? Or what information are you alleged to have disclosed? And then secondly, you say that was absolutely false, so was that one of the issues that they were looking to impeach you on? Was it one of the things that they referred to the district attorney that was then not in fact?
It was certainly one of the things that they looked at in regards to the impeachment. Considering the fact that the Hardin report went to the DA and the grand jury, I presume that was part of it as well. I never disclosed anything publicly. We were advised very early on in my tenure in regards to responding to open records requests that we use our individual attorneys to help to make sure we do it right. And I don't, as I said, I don't have any attorneys in here, but all my material that I submit, as part of their request was Bates stamped. So we have a record of exactly what I sent. The accusation came when the National Review, a reporter for the National Review, who I'd never spoken to, never met, didn't even know he existed, saw what was happening in Texas. He was actually a former Daily Texan reporter, conservative one, which is shocking. And he saw what was happening, and he couldn't believe it. And so he, all he did was he got on the internet and started Googling names of politicians. He said, and this is what he wrote about. He wrote a letter to the Transparency Committee saying, hey, this is how the information got out there. I mean, he fessed up on his own, okay, because what they were saying was wrong. But he just Googled the politicians who were attacking me the hardest and found that they had students at the university, in the law school. And he picked up the phone and he called one. And he called Jim Pitts. And he said, hey, are you one of the guys putting pressure on, blah, blah, blah. And he wrote about it, and Pitts got angry. And 24 hours later, Pitts said he was retiring from the House. And I had nothing to do with it. And, I've never disclosed any of the emails that I had. And they've got my record, and it just never happened. But it was convenient for them because that was a scare tactic that they could get parents and families and students upset about. And it just never happened. I mean, with all the scrutiny I've taken, if I had done something wrong, they would have found it.
Yeah. And just one other question, because I was moderator at the debate that where Mr. Aronikis spoke for Mr. Flynn, and afterward he came up to me and he said, well, one thing that you need to know that Dan was not in favor of this impeachment, and Dan did everything that he could on the committee to actually defend Mr. Hall and all this. So, and I don't believe that for a second, but I just would like to be sure.
He did everything that he could to defend me, except speak in my favor at the committee, vote in my favor on the committee, tell the press anything that he was in favor of other than what they did. He had some very strange letter that he wrote, which John Cassidy at watchdog.org wrote an article about. But it was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde like letter. Parts of it were really well written, and parts of it were very strange. And John Cassidy pointed out that the parts that were really well written, he had plagiarized from Cassidy's previous pieces. He cut and pasted. And then the strange parts he must have written himself or taken from someplace else. And but I can't remember exactly how John described it, but it was almost like a Pontius Pilate position that he wanted to take the high road like he wasn't in favor of it, but it wasn't going to stop it from happening. Yeah. Because these are the people he answers to. And but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the higher you get in power, the more courage you must display. You have that much more responsibility. And as chair of that committee, on a incredibly important issue, it wasn't just me. It was how we manage all of our government agencies in Texas. He failed the test. He showed absolutely zero courage. If that's what he said he was doing, I don't think anybody ever saw any of that come to the public.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, well, I want to thank you for coming. And you exemplify that come and take it attitude in Texas better than anybody I've ever met. Thank you, sir. Now, y'all need to get out there and block walk that man over there, okay?